protectors of the Sunnah followers, protectors of the Sunnah.
Alhamdulillah, wa salam Allah wa Rasulullah. Welcome to our Hadith class, and this is the Hadith class wherein we focus on Hadiths that relate or pertain to women in Islam. And let's put the Hadith up on the screen for discussion today. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, let's put the Hadith up for discussion today. And the source of this Hadith is Sahih Bukhari. Larger. The source is Sahih Bukhari. And this Hadith is narrated by Abu Huraira. He said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a woman and her paternal aunt should not be married to the same man, and similarly, a woman and her maternal aunt should not be married to the same man. And what this is saying is that basically you cannot marry a woman and her aunt. This is haram. Okay, why? Because it destroys the blood ties. Remember, guys, the kinship is under the throne of Allah. Allah says that for those people who sever the tie of kinship, they sever their ties with Allah. And like I talked about before with you guys, I don't care what you watch on television. A lot of you like to watch the Sister Wives and those LSD Mormon TV shows, Big Love and all of that stuff, and Polygamist, the Polygamist, and all that nonsense. Any woman that tells you that she's happy with her husband having another woman is a liar, because it's not the nature of a woman. Allah did not create women to be polygamists. Allah did not create women to like sharing the same man. If a woman enjoys sharing a man with another woman, then something's wrong with her mentally, because this is against the nature of how Allah created women. And this hadith is proof of that, because the way Allah created us women, no woman enjoys the fact that her husband is with another woman. It's the nature of the woman to worry. Maybe he cares for her more than he does me. Maybe he's doing things with her that he doesn't do with me. So this can destroy the blood tie. This can destroy the tie of kinship. Women are jealous of other women. We see it every day. You know, you're jealous, but it's easy for a woman to become jealous of the attention or the affection that her husband has with another woman. Look at Aisha. She was the favorite wife of the Prophet. She never met Khadijah, but she hated Khadijah. She was extremely jealous of this woman who died and who she never met. But the simple fact that she knew that the Prophet, her husband, loved this woman, that ate Aisha up. So Allah knows his creation better than we know ourselves. Some of you may not want to admit that there is no way on earth you can love a woman who's loving your man. But the reality is that those of us of intelligence have no problem admitting the truth about ourselves. So this is why Allah has forbidden a man to marry a woman and her mother. You cannot marry a woman and her mother. You cannot marry a woman and her aunt. You cannot marry a woman and her grandmother. You cannot marry a woman and her great aunt. None of that, because this destroys the kinship ties. Does everybody understand that? And it'll be hard to get those relations back with your aunt. Your aunt is like your mother. The most sacred bond on earth is the bond between a mother and its child. To destroy that bond, whereas that woman will never want to go to her aunt, and her aunt is like her mother, or she'll never want to go to her grandmother. She'll never be able to look her mother in the face without wondering if her mother did things with the man she loved. See how Allah has hikmah that we could never understand. So that's why Allah has forbidden a man from marrying. If you marry a man, then he could never marry your mother. He could never marry your aunt. He could never marry your grandmother, because the prophet said the aunt and the grandmother are just like the mother. So marrying any of those relations would be like marrying your mom, and you would never have that type of relationship with that person again. So this is a simple hadith that also shows the hikmah, the wisdom of Allah. So that includes it. Even if you ever divorce, even if you got divorced, your husband can never marry your mother. He can never marry your aunt, and he can never marry your grandmother, because they're all mahrams to him, because the aunt and the grandmother are the same as the mother. All right, any discussion on this hadith? And let me put it up on the screen. Again, the Prophet sallallahu, and it doesn't matter if the aunt is on your mother's side or your father's side. The Prophet said a woman and her aunt should never be married to the same man. And it doesn't matter what side it's on, whether it's your father's side or your mother's side. Once a man marries you, your mother, your aunt, and your grandparents are off limit from him. These are people that remain mahrams to you forever. Does everybody understand that? Just like your stepson. If you marries a man, his sons are off limits for you. You can never marry your husband's son, because again, this would destroy the blood tie. If someone married your grandmother, that man could never marry your grandchildren. You know, you could never marry him because he was married to your grandmother. These are the mahrams. The blood ties are sacred. They are under the throne of Allah. Any comments? Okay, if there's no comments, I'd like to thank everybody for joining and participating. Sabrina, are you in here? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I am. I was trying to take my mute off. This is a very good hadith, and it shows, like it says, once again, the hikmah of Allah wa ta'ala, and how he had thought beforehand when he made these laws, when he made these rules, that how the blood ties would be damaged if even if he married a woman and they became divorced, he could never still marry into that family. It would destroy the blood ties between the aunt, who is just like the mother, and or anyone else that is in the blood ties with her. So it really does show the wisdom of Allah, wa ta'ala, and it's right there. It's plain. Allah has already thought about this before, probably before we were even created. And there's so much wisdom in it.
Now, one thing, the man can marry the woman's sister. And a lot of people ask them, well, why is it that if I got married and got divorced, my ex-husband can marry my sister, but he can't marry my aunt? And the answer is simple. Your sister is your sister, but your mother is sacred. The mother is the mother. Your aunt is the same as your mother. Your grandmother is the same as your mother. Your sister is your sister. That's the hikmah, the wisdom of Allah. And that blood tie between mother and child is more sacred than mother and father, and then even more sacred than sisters.
Wow.
Okay. Any other comments?
Amazing.
Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for joining and participating in this session of our Hadith class. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.